Hello everyone, my name's Andy. My channel is Finding Value. If you like making money, subscribe to the channel. I'd love to have you a part of our community to ride this commodity bull market up together with me and everyone else. So today we're going to talk about cheetah chasing. And what I mean by cheetahs, cheetahs are when, prices are contained in chart patterns. It's containments, psychological containments by the market. What I look for are large chart patterns, could be a decade long plus in terms of duration. I'm looking for very large chart pattern breaks that will provide a very large run. I call it a cheetah because cheetahs run very fast. They usually run an impulse move, so they're very fast for a short period of time, then they rest. They run again and they rest. So it's impulse moves, kind of the way the market moves. And that's what I consider to be cheetahs being released to the wild and having them run in price to the upside quite substantially after breaking these large chart patterns. So in this presentation, I have found a lot of very large charts. Some companies are about to break these decade-long chart patterns or downtrends. Other ones have just broken it, and they're about to move into the wild, so to speak. So here we go. I'm going to call this one cheetah chasing, where we're looking for very good investment opportunities. Here's the cheetah. That's what we're looking for. One that's resting maybe right before a chart break or right after a chart break pattern. Sometimes they break out of their pattern, then they rest for a little bit. So I'm going to look at all the commodity sectors. Everything's game on here. I looked at all the sectors, and I think these are the best opportunities that I could find. I will show each sector through an ETF, and then I'll look into some individual companies. I think a few sectors look really strong, and some are still pulling back and resting. Others are in the process of turning around. And then I took a look at individual companies after these ETFs and this market data. So again, this is not financial advice and should only be used for educational purposes only. You guys have to still do your own work on figuring out what companies that you want to invest in. I am just using these and showing you what I look at from a technical charting perspective for companies. So here is the 10-year Us Treasury Yield. I'm just touching on market conditions real quick before we start getting into ETFs. Here is the yields. Remember, this is a percent or yield. They are increasing or coming on up. It's in this pullback period, but I think over time, they're going to continue on up over time. Why do I think that? Because I think inflation is going to increase with time. So yields are going to chase inflation higher. This is the dollar. This is what all of our commodities get priced in. This is the inflation component, not the supply-demand component. There's two components to the price of commodities: supply-demand and inflation. Inflation is the driver of a commodity supercycle. A declining dollar, this was the last commodity boom all the way to 2008. In 2008, it ended. You can see that the decline in dollar bottomed out. It was a double bottom. And then it started moving on up. This was a real estate recovery phase. This was an expansion phase in real estate back here. And we're going to enter an expansion phase again with a dollar declining. We've got the 50-day crossing the 200-day. This is not a golden cross. This is the opposite, a death cross, I think is what it's called. And it's coming on down. You can see recently in the last couple of weeks that we've had a pretty strong decline in the dollar. This is going to be a very good tailwind to our commodity investments. And what we should be seeing with the declining dollar is commodities starting to move higher. And that's exactly what we're seeing. So here is DBC. This is the Invesco DB Commodity Index. And what do you see here? We see dollar decline from mid-2020. Right here is mid-2020 onward. Mid-2020 onward, we're moving on up. And this guy, it hit this, we'll call it resistance line here. And we're breaking on up to the upside today. So the entire commodity complex is looking pretty good. It's looking like it's breaking to the upside. You're seeing money flows into commodities. You're seeing a chart pattern break here to the upside. So everything is looking pretty promising. Now I'm going to get into some of the ETFs. Now here is North Shore Global Uranium Mining ETF. We had great movements up here, and it's in this consolidation period, moving sideways. Maybe we could redraw this even down here. But this is the pattern that I see. It kind of broke to the downside. We do have some buyers down here a little bit. We have a bearish engulfing here. We've got two little up days. This still could pull back some. So I am dragging my feet on uranium. I'm not adding anything at this exact moment. Some companies in uranium on an individual company basis look good. Some of them look like they're ready to pull back. And that's what we're seeing. We're seeing this indecisive move in the North Shore Global Uranium Mining ETF because they're split in the sector. And I'm just waiting to see. I'm more than likely sure on a medium-term basis that uranium will go up. And the reasoning is we are below the cost curves of uranium. So they have to go up in order to produce something. On a short term, we potentially could have better buying opportunities, but that's a big but. You're not going to lose even if you're cost averaging in now. So it's up to you. You do what you want, but the chart doesn't look like it's ready to launch. It just looks like we still could see a pullback here. That's what it looks like to me. Now, here's Global X Copper Miners. This thing's looking ready to break to the upside, and it's basically turtle heading out, breaking to the upside. I see these lows stepping up into this resistance line. So we had a nice big pull up here, pull back, pull up, big sideways move, and then I think we're going to break here to the upside and have another run possibly in copper. Looking very strong. GDX. So GDX, we have this downtrend line. Again, you can see we have a higher low, broke through it, and we've got these nice big up days, and the down days are nice and small and compact. Signature move for a continuation pattern to the upside. So GDX looks good to either move sideways or slightly up, or maybe it takes off. I know some people on the channel, they think that we are going to go in a chopping sideways pattern till end of May, beginning of June. I believe June 1st or 2nd is where they are thinking that this potentially could have a very large move based off of other technical analysis. But what I see is strength. I see strength, and I see a controlled movement by the buyers. The buyers are in control here. Looking at SILJ, what I see is this nice contraction. You can see I drew these two lines in here, and they're contracting into kind of a wedge. And now we're just kind of moving sideways. And at some point, this thing's going to break. It's going to break to the upside, most likely. But we have to see. We have to see which way it breaks. But it's coiling up right now. This is the REMX, Rare Earth Strategic Metals. This thing looks fantastic to me. We pulled on back. We came on up. We've got a bullish piercing here. And we're heading on up. We broke through the 50-day. So this thing looks like it's putting in a handle. And if you had a very large, big picture view, this is a big cup and handle, and there's a big resistance line coming right above here. So I think we're going to pull up to about 92, 95, somewhere in there. And then we're going to have to break through that. We hit our head on it right here. We said, boom, and then we came back, and we're going to try to force our way through this resistance area. But I think that looks really good. REMX. XLE, this is the energy select sector. 50-day across in the 200, golden cross, moving on up. We got a nice little pullback here, bullish piercing, and I think this guy is going to move on up. We're putting in a handle here. Putting a bunch of cup and handles. Big chart patterns. Cheetahs like to form these patterns. We break the patterns, and then we're off to the races. OIH, another golden cross, 50-day across in the 200, 50-day moving average, 200-day moving average, red line, 50 days the blue line. Coming on up, we're pulling on back, and I think we're going to head. This looks like we're finding some footing here. Doesn't look fantastic, but we're getting some footing. So I think there's still some more development there for the oil services. Now, Callum Petroleum looks pretty good. We pulled on up, golden cross, and we kind of pulled, and this pullback was mainly sideways. I like the sideways. This means it's very strong, just like this one was very strong. Then you put in these large up days like this. This is a bullish engulfing of the three before it. This guy's basically a bullish engulfing of these guys before it too. I think we're going to move up. This one looks fantastic. SM Energy, it's doing the same thing as Callon Petroleum. We have a nice consolidation period right here where the buyers equaled the sellers. The dead period was right here, and now we popped higher. Let's see if this continues to the upside or if we have another couple day pullback right after it of very small down days. So I'm guessing small down days sideways or up. Centennial Development, looking at it from a big picture view. We pulled on down, came up, got hammered, came back up, created a cup, and we're putting in a handle pattern right here. The pattern's very similar to this side. So we're probably going to create this little handle here and then break and move on up. Probably going to take another month or so to form all this out and then break this thing and start moving with some speed. This is zoomed in, bullish engulfing of the ones before it. This thing looks fantastic to put in this handle. I'd like to see what this thing does. It could look pretty good. CCJ, so this is an individual company of Uranium, Camco. And what I see here is this could potentially pull back some. See how this guy is forming a wedge pattern into this corner here? It could potentially pull back. We have a bearish piercing here as well. We have another bearish piercing here. So we're still in pullback mode, potentially. This entire sector is kind of mixed. You look at some individual companies, they look great. You look at other companies, and they look like they're going to pull back. Whenever it's mixed, I kind of just look at another sector and say, I'll add some money over here. But this could potentially pull back if this is a wedge type pattern here, where it may pull back a day or two or more. Or if the sector follows the other energy sectors like oil and a bunch of money piles in, this could go up higher with these guys back here like Centennial Development, SM Energy, and Callon Petroleum. Remember, money flows are coming into the commodity sector. Uranium is in the commodity sector, so sometimes funds roll in here and negate some of these chart patterns, but this to me looks like it could pull back a little bit. Now here's Antofagasta. This is a copper company. This is a large chart break pattern. Broke to the upside, back tested. And what do? I like buying back tests. And now we're moving on up. This is the Cheetah released to the wild. That's what it looks like. You can see this 50-day just turn right on up, that 50-day moving average. So this one is a little bit further in its move. You can see back here that this thing was in Cheetah mode for a long time. Went into a consolidation period with the housing market and the dollar increasing in strength. And now the dollar is decreasing, and this thing's moving on up very, very good. So that's what happens when a Cheetah gets released to the wild. It runs very fast. It has these little pauses, runs again, pause. It's going to run again, pause. But it's looking pretty strong. Here's Turquoise Hill Resources. This is another copper company. Big old decade-long chart pattern break. Broke to the upside. Kind of pausing here. I think it looks pretty good. 1850-ish. Got some volume stepping in and buying it. So I think this looks great. Here's Glencore. Glencore quite hasn't broken out yet, but what do we look for? Higher lows. Low, higher low. Our lows are stepping up, and we're going to move into this big resistance line up here. Once we hit it, we're probably going to hit our head, do one of those little cup patterns, U-shaped, bowl-shaped patterns, and then break out and move to the upside. This is a copper company. It also has a couple of other nickel and some other diversified mining companies, so it pays a pretty good dividend. I think it's 4 or 5%. Archer Daniels Midland. This guy did very well back in the last bull market. Went sideways with all the other commodity companies, kind of on a slight upward move. We broke this large, over a decade-long pattern to the upside. We back tested it, and now we're moving on up. I think this thing's going to move pretty good. So that's Archer Daniels Midland. Mosaic, another Cheetah. Drawing the downtrend line. When I last talked about this, we were right there hitting our head on it, And here we are moving on up, looking fantastic to move higher over this next decade-long plus commodity boom. Mosaic is added to the Cheetah mix. EEM, it likes doing Cheetah things as well. Here's the trend line. Broke to the upside, back test. What do I do on back tests? I buy them, and then I hold on and wait. It's probably going to move to the upside with a declining dollar. MP Materials. This is a rare earth mineral company. It is in the United States. It's probably going to get a bunch of money from Biden and all these guys because we don't have that much rare earth metal production in the United States. We have this nice declining wedge pattern. Broke to the upside. I expect this to continue to the upside most likely. So that's looking good. Here's First Majestic Silver Corp. Massive chart break pattern. We were here last time I was talking about it. This is another cup and handle pattern. You can maybe even argue that this is a cup and handle pattern. Big move, I think, is coming in silver and these ones that break these large patterns like this. But we're just chilling out. The Cheetah's resting right here on top of its breakout. What do I always say about back tests and chart breaks? I like buying them right here because I think we're going to see a big move higher over the next 5 years, decade plus duration. So I like buying stuff and holding on. The volume is agreeing with this as well. A lot of people accumulating. Vale. Vale is a diversified mining company, big nickel producer, has some copper too. Broke its downtrend. This is a over a decade long downtrend. Broke out. It didn't even pull back much. It pulled back going upward, and now we're moving again to the upside. This is a fantastic company for the next commodity bull market. It is a Cheetah. Another Cheetah, Norilsk Nickel. Nice big pattern here, all the way back to 2008. Going back and forth, coiling up, broke out to the upside. Now it's in full Cheetah mode running. This thing's going to keep running to the upside for probably a very long time. So that's looking fantastic. I own quite a bit of Norilsk Nickel. It's one of my favorite companies because of the copper nickel PGM mix that they mine. Teuton Resources is a royalty company. It is a very small junior royalty company. It does have more risk associated with it. It is a gold royalty company. It does have some silver. It is in the Golden Triangle, and this is the company that owns the Golden Triangle properties that gets royalties from it. So the companies on their properties are like something like Seabridge, Pretium Resources, all those types of companies. So they are set up to gain royalties from that area. Broke its downtrend here. This is a decade-long pattern, over a decade long. Broke to the upside, and now it back tested, and we're chilling here, ready to go on up. What do I like doing? I like buying the heck out of it here. I was buying it down here. I was buying this thing all over the place. Whenever Eric Sprott told me about Teuton Resources, I was like, all right, I'm in. It's a royalty company. I like royalty companies very much. And in that area, they're finding a lot. Teuton Resources also still holds a large stake in the property that Tudor Gold is exploring. I think they still have a 20% stake in that. So they're also, I think, holding the best property in that area, thinking that they might have a bunch of gold in there that they're proving up for reserves. So they also have a good stake there too. Here's Ely Gold Royalties. Again, this one's doing a back test too. Here's the decade-long pattern. Big bowl shape, came up, back test, and I think we're going to move on up. So this is one that I'm accumulating. Look at the volume over here, looking pretty good. Hovind Enterprises, this is a home builder. We're seeing all these things tied together. Diversified mining companies, copper companies, silver companies, gold companies, royalty companies, home builders. Big decade-long pattern breaking to the upside. This was a buy of a lifetime down here if somebody got it. Big volume, $6 all the way to $129. This thing's probably going to continue to move on up. Looking fantastic. KB Homes, another home builder, breaking its large pattern to the upside. There's the resistance line. Miami, no attention to the resistance line, broke right through it, and we're moving on up. Looking fantastic. Blue Sky Uranium. I love these big charts. This thing goes all the way back to 2000s. Coming on down this downtrend line, broke to the upside, and I think this momentum is turning. We got a bunch of volume down here, accumulating the heck out of this thing. And I think this is going to go to a land far, far, far away from 25 cents. Endeavor Silver, downtrend break. First downtrend break, back test. Hit our head on this next very large trend line. We're just chilling there. We're resting right now before a big move higher. That's what I think. Tetra Technologies, again, oil companies. These guys they moved off their bottoms like mad, and we're hitting our head on this trend line pattern. Once oil breaks, these are all moving up. Remember, the dollar matters here. That's what's moving these things. It's inflationary. We've got this accumulation with volume down there, so it's looking good. Contango Oil and Gas, another one. Draw this trend line in, broke to the upside, nice big pullback. This is going to continue to the upside in Cheetah mode at some point. Just take some time. Nice big volume accumulating down here as well. That's where I like buying, is all through here. I could keep going with a whole bunch more companies, but everything is looking like Cheetah is going to be released. Some companies are in the free. They've broken their chart patterns, and they are resting outside of the walls of containment. Others are just about to break out and feel the freedom of breaking that psychological containment. Again, the moves are coming. So what would I do? Pick your favorite companies, get in them, and hold on, baby. Hold on. The money that's going to be made here is going to be through being patient and holding. This isn't something that is going to resolve itself or go up. I mean, some of these could go up a lot. They could go up 100, 200, 300, 400% in a first impulse move. But I'm playing it for the big long-term perspective in the commodity bull market, the super cycle, the declining dollar. And I'm holding it through that entire cycle. How do we know when to sell? I know I get some questions on that. It's when the real estate start to decline and our ratios of the S&P 500 to commodity ratio gets expensive. So those are the two things you want to look at. If your housing starts to move down and you're at an expensive state in terms of ratios, that's when I'm going to start reducing my positions. I am cost averaging out. I'm not selling everything in one shot. I'm going to do it slowly, over months, not all in one shot. That's how I'm doing it. You guys can proceed however you'd like. If you guys like this content, give me a thumbs up. And thanks for listening. This is Finding Value.